Good morning. Hope you guys are doing great.
I don't think that they were even on yet.
Yeah, they're on now.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to our show where we share our successful actions in life and business, personal and financial development. We're Martin and Chelsea Matthews. We have 25 around years of combined experience in the financial industry. We're owners of M Wealth Group, and we have a variety of financial services that we offer, education, consulting, etc. And we're authors of this book, Let's Fight About Money. Today, we're going to share actually a little bit of our...
Okay. I started on the other one.
We're going to share a little bit of our personal financial journey, how we got into the financial industry, my story, Martin's story, how we came together, and how we can help you in your financial journey.
So look, I always tell people, those of you who don't know, for me, I was born in Liberia, West Africa. Liberia, in the last few years, has been ranked the poorest country in the world. Now, how does a country even get the designation as the poorest country in the world? Africa is a very wealthy continent in terms of natural resources, oil, gold, diamond, everything's on the African continent. Yet how come a lot of the nations are considered poor? Well, a lot of it has to do with the leadership of these different places. So the people in charge over many years, for one reason or another, never ended up developing the potential of what the place could be. So now the country I was born in was ranked the poorest country in the world. Now that's per capita. How much do people make, per person is the lowest in the world. So we've had war, we've had Ebola, we've had all kinds of crazy things happen in Liberia. So that was my experience growing up. Throughout my childhood, it was like all this traumatic war, all these situations happening. So I grew up seeing poverty all around me. However, my family wasn't necessarily poor. My father used to be the Secretary of State for my country. So every day people would come to my house to ask my father for money. And literally come to the house, they'll line up in front of the gate, they'll let them in, they will sit there and they'll go get an audience with my dad and ask him for money. This was literally coming and begging for money every single day. And I would sit in a corner and I would listen to their stories. And it were all stories like, hey, my child is sick, my parent is sick, I need, food today. Some of these people would walk there from across the city. And so he would help them. And I realized that money was important to people. So from a very young age, I realized money was very important to people. And then when I was about, 8 years old, I grabbed my older brother and I decided we were going to do a business called my older brother Jerry and Martin's Credit Union. And Jerry and Martin's Credit Union, the whole idea was I would lend people small amounts of money so that it could help them and they could start a little business and then they could pay me back. So that was my first little business. 8 years old, I started Jamku, we called it, Jerry Martin's Credit Union. And I was just trying to solve financial issues and financial things. I was just trying to do something about the condition that I saw growing up in my life. And then the people who borrowed money from Jamku never paid us back. So my first business promptly went out of business when I was 8 years old and started Jerry. My brother really wasn't involved, but the name, I thought I needed somebody older to go do it with me. But that I learned an important lesson in that there was a demand for people wanting solutions when it comes down to their finances. So then, I came to America and then I ended up finding somebody who was in the financial field and that's how I got started in here.
So for me, my financial journey, what led me into the financial industry, I had a little intro when I was 18. I was I think at the time I was the youngest person to get hired at E-Trade Securities. And it was really an exciting time because E-Trade was growing and blowing up, the whole online, the whole .com, era, and online investing where you used to have to only go to a broker to place trades, to invest in the stock market. And now there was this online trading opportunity. And it was exploding. And they literally were hiring. I mean, if you had a pulse, you could get hired because they were growing so fast and trying to hire so fast. And we went from 1 2-story building to 3 3-story buildings. just in the time I was there, like 2 years. And so it was an exciting time, but I didn't really I didn't really appreciate the opportunity at the time because all I was thinking is I didn't want to like sit at a desk and talk on the phone and have people yell at me because they didn't know what they were doing, trying to invest their life savings into the stock market and losing everything. So I did study for my Series 7 at that time. And I had a really good experience. I was like my first corporate America, job and experience. And then I went and did a lot of other things. And then it was when I became a mom that I really started thinking about, okay, what am I going to teach my son? And it was when William started going to school. He was like about 5 years old. And I realized the things that he's learning in school are not going to teach him the tools to be successful in life. Mm-hmm. I wanted him to, have unlimited dreams. I wanted him to have all the tools and belief and confidence to have a successful life. And I, at the time, was a single mom. And I felt like, I didn't feel like I was struggling to find family success and financial success. So like I was either spending time with William and I was broke, or I was making money and I wasn't spending any time with William. And I felt guilty either way. I felt like I was failing either way. And I wanted to be able to have time with him and have a successful family life. And I wanted to be successful financially because I knew he wasn't going to learn that in school. And if he was going to learn it, it was going to be from me, which meant I had to figure it out. And so I went on this journey of reading books, going to seminars, getting around the right people to learn like, how does money really work? And how can I make it work for me? And how can I be an example for William so that he learns these tools? And so as I learned, the books that I read, the seminars I went to, I involved him in everything right along with me. So he started learning about money and good money habits and how money works from like 6 years old. And so everything I learned, I taught him. And I kept going on this journey. I kept trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to do that I can contribute? At the time I was living in Las Vegas and I was working in the nightlife industry, and it was fun and exciting, but not so much when you're a parent and not so much when you want to make an impact for positive, for good in people's lives and in your own life. So I was like looking around, what the heck do I want to do that's going to impact my life, William's life, and that I can help others improve their life as well. And so one of the seminars that I went to, I met a group of financial advisors. Actually, well, not the same group of financial advisors that got Martin into the industry, but at the time he was working with this same group. And so they invited William and I to come out to San Diego, which is where I always wanted to live. I loved San Diego. I loved the beach. And so I ended up packing up me and William. We went to San Diego and to start this new life and this new journey of working in the financial industry, learning how money works and teaching people how money works as well, and making money doing it as well. And so that's how Martin and I met. And we both were so aligned in what we were wanting to accomplish in our life, what we were wanting to do for ourselves, for others, that we started out as a friendship. He kind of took me under his wing. Although what I've come to realize...
This wasn't like a friend zone type of shit, okay?
What I come to realize is apparently guys and girls can't be friends, okay?
I wasn't in a friend zone.
Yeah,
I made a move pretty quickly on this whole thing.
I didn't know that.
I had to go seal the deal really quickly on the whole deal and all that.
Okay, well, who really sealed the deal?
She didn't friend zone me.
Who really sealed
I wasn't
the deal,
pretending to
though?
be her friend.
Okay, let's not avoid this.
Yeah.
Who really sealed the deal, though?
She had to close. She had to close. She had to close. I had to let her close me.
Oh, okay. I was like, all right, let's move things along here. So anyways, yeah, what I've come to learn, we were watching last night. If you guys have not heard of or seen Matt Rife, he is a hilarious comedian.
R-I-F-E, Rife.
Yeah, he's so funny. And he's so good at touching like things that people are very uncomfortable about, but making it funny in like a respectable way. But he was talking about also how girls think that guys are trying to be their friend, but they're really not. And so that's what I thought. I thought he was being nice. He was taking me under his wing because he had like been in the industry a little longer and he's showing me how the business goes. And, you know, he's like wanting to hang out. And I really didn't catch on until he started grilling me about like if I want to get married, if I want to have more kids and what my goals and dreams are. And at that point, I had really been working on myself and what type of relationship I wanted to have and who that person was and who I had to be to find that person. And so it was like a startling moment because it like hit me right in the smack of my face, smacked me right in the face. Oh shit. This is the person that I've been looking for, who I could build a life and build a business with. And it's amazing when you really get clear on exactly what you want in your life, in your business, if you have a business, in your relationships, with your kids, any area in life. The clearer that you get on exactly what you want, and then you start looking at who do I need to be to like make that happen. It's not just about like, oh, let me think about what I want and law of attraction. I'm just going to attract it to me. You have to actually do something. And in order to do it, you have to be the person, you have to become the person that will do those things, that can have those things.
Yeah.
So
look, everything comes down to your habits. I did a video earlier. I'm going to expand on this topic. And everything comes down to your habits. Chelsea and I, and here's the thing that we have. There is a lot of accountability in our relationship. If you don't realize it yet, Chelsea's a go-getter.
Yes, you know that's right.
So you've got to realize there is tremendous accountability between you and your people. You and your kids, all of that, because your kids watch everything. They may not say things to you, but they watch you, they observe you, they know what you're doing, what you're saying, all that shit. And they pretend like they're not, but they are. And so there's tremendous accountability that has to do with what you say and then what you do. And so even this morning, Chelsea was talking to me about that. There was something that that has to do with our son turning 18. He's about to turn 18, and we're discussing her perspective on him turning 18, some of my perspective.
And I am quickly trying to find the rewind button.
Yeah, and so we were talking about that, and we're talking about our perspectives and different things. And so everything comes down to your habits. It doesn't matter what you excuse. If you there's either what you do or what you don't do. Either you did something. It doesn't even matter why you did it, why you didn't do it. Either I woke up at the time I wanted to wake up, and I went to the gym and I exercised and I did what I said I would do, or I didn't. It didn't matter why. It didn't matter why I didn't go to the gym. It didn't matter why I didn't wake up. All that matters is, did you do what you said you would do, and did you do what you intended? So the best way you can look at any area of your life is you look at your habits. You look at first your results. If you don't have the results you're looking for in that particular area, you didn't look at your habits. What you laughing at?
This filter is just cracking me up.
So
I guess that's what I would look like if I had Botox and fillers.
Apparently.
And a nose
So
job.
you look at your habits. There's only what you produce. That's your results. There's only what you habitually do, meaning you regularly do, and that makes up who you are. You become the person that does these things. And so if you don't do something, there's not really an excuse. There's not really saying, oh, I'm going to do these things. There's either you do them or you don't do them. Now, the people who love you will tell you when you are not doing the things that you are supposed to do, or you said you would do, or you should be doing.
So you don't love me?
No, I do love it.
I'm just kidding.
She left her socks out last night. I had to tell her about her socks.
Yes, you did. I appreciated that.
And I'm like, what the hell is this dirty sock doing here?
I am more of the hold people accountable.
She's very much
than Martin is.
She's very much so. And I'll tell you why. What's a positive impact? So look, I'll tell you why sometimes, because
good morning.
I don't know where the line is. Often don't know what the line is. And Chelsea is very good at keeping me in line.
Is that an excuse?
No, that is an excuse. But I'm telling you.
You see how I do that?
Yeah, that is an excuse. And
Accountability.
I will own up to it. I said, like, yeah, it is an excuse. And I'll tell you some of the things, because I'm not perfect. Although I try to execute habitually to the best of my abilities, and I keep in my habits to the best of my abilities. right? So I'm constantly improving. And I will tell you, I do not often know what the line is. What that means is I will tend to say inappropriate things and and I don't know what the line is. I say inappropriate things all the time. That's funny to me. And then Chelsea goes like, I probably shouldn't say some of that stuff. So I'm like, okay, damn, I got to walk this line. But when I was a kid, let's say I'm walking in front of the line. Yeah.
How often do I say it's something you shouldn't have said?
No,
Maybe I don't agree with it, or I'm like, I wouldn't say it.
It's not Chelsea that the issue is that when I was growing up as a kid, I was told you have to represent the family. For those of you guys who don't know, my father used to be Secretary of State of my country. He's a big political guy in the country. So every time I would go somewhere, it would be like, you got to represent the family. You got to represent the family. What the fuck does an 8-year-old need to be doing representing the family? I'm like, I don't need that pressure on me. So it's like I couldn't say what I wanted to say. I'd always censor myself. So then as I got older, I had these extremes. And here was my extreme of what I would do. I would get so frustrated because people would literally say all kinds of rude and mean things to me when I went out sometimes as a kid because my dad was a political figure. And here's what I would do. Whenever they said something rude or mean to me and I wasn't holding back, I would say the meanest, nastiest, worst things you could think about. I would cuss your mom, I'll cuss your grandmother, I'll cuss your sister. And I'm talking about mean, nasty shit that will go like, what? They couldn't believe that I would be saying something like that. So I would like go to these extremes. And it's just because I would have this pent up, unexpressed communication and I needed to get these things out. So for me, holding people accountable, and then sometimes I'm a little bit, it's like, dude, I can't, I got to say it in a nice way that I don't like hurt their feelings too bad. But the reality is, most people don't change off of that. So you've got to like give it to people straight, like the way my self-talk, if you guys could hear the way I talk to myself, most of you wouldn't handle it because it is highly inappropriate. It's highly but it's what drives, it's part of my drive.
How do you know everyone else isn't thinking inappropriate, crazy things too?
They probably are, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of wild, crazy things that happens inside of my head that if I told, and Chelsea's always like, hey, you should just say what you want to say. But sometimes I've said that and people get so hurt by it. And I'm like, oh, because I don't want to hurt people.
But see, the more you suppress yourself, if you suppress yourself, then that's where those blow-ups would come. Because it's like pushing down. I can't take it anymore. F everyone. And then it's also not, so there's like, it's also taking responsibility. Just because you are you doesn't mean that you get to control how people respond to you. And so people may like it and they may not. And then there's also like not so much having to be careful of what you say to others, but having care for others.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, it becomes this, just like, if you diet and you restrict yourself from anything that you want and then you go binge.
Yeah.
But then also it's like having that practice, it's almost like a muscle of practicing that communication, of communicating what you think and feel, but then also like having good communication with others. So it's not just like, oh, I said what I want, now it's your problem.
Yeah. Well, things are a lot different now to where I can say things to people in a way with affinity, where I can be like, hey, dude, why are you being a little bitch? And then it's not meant to be mean to you because I say that to myself.
I mean that in the most loving way.
I mean that in a loving way. I'm like, are you complaining? Why are you bitching? Why are you bitching right now about that? So, because I say that to myself. I look in the mirror and I'm like, dude, are you being a little bitch right now? Like, why? What? Like, I say that to myself. I understand. I go to the gym and I lift in the weights and I get stuck and I'm like, dude, are you being a little bitch? Like this little old lady she's here. She's 80 years old. She's working out next to you. Don't be a little bitch, man. And then, that gets me some motivation. So I always say it in a loving way to people, but I want you to understand some of the punishments I used to get when I was a kid. In Liberia, they would pepper you. Pepper means to grind the hot peppers and to put them in your nose, put them in your eyes and shit like that. And I used to just unleash on people sometimes verbally, and then I would get peppered. So I'm like, okay, there's a big punishment for this. So now it's like, okay, say things to people, But if you can say things to people in a funny, loving way, they actually don't get very upset by it if they know that you're coming from a good place. So it's like a skill set where you learn to say things or challenge people. You should always challenge people to be their best. And it comes from you being your best. You don't really have, there's something called ethical presence. You can't really tell somebody to eat right if you're eating like shit. You can't tell somebody they need to go work out if you don't fucking work out. You can't tell somebody to be disciplined if you don't have discipline in your life. So when you are doing the things in your own life and building those habits, it gives you the ethical presence to then challenge somebody on their bullshit. Like, you're like, dude, you're too busy to work out. Okay, well, I run a business. I got a family. I still wake up at 5:15 in the morning. I still go work out every day. So why are you complaining? You know, it's like other people are in worse conditions than you and they're not complaining. So that means you need to quit being a little bitch.
And that's why we are so passionate about helping people, helping you with your financial journey, because it's something that we wanted to share a little bit about what led us to do what we do, why we do what we do, because it's something that we both, with very different backgrounds, very different experiences growing up, what we saw and heard and experienced having to do with money, but we both were led to the same direction of learning about money, how to make it work, how to make it for us, and then also so that we can help other people with what we've learned, our successful actions in life and business. And so when Martin's talking about being accountable, holding ourselves accountable and holding others accountable, that's what we do in our business. We share our successful actions and what we've learned and what we've been able to put into practice. And then also with our financial expertise of our various licenses, our experience, then we are able to take people who want to improve their financial situation, wherever you are, being able to identify and be accountable to where you are. I'm sure if you look at your finances, there's somewhere else you'd like to be. Most people, and if they say they're happy with where they are, they're probably lying to themselves, because there's some aspect of your life that you could improve. There's some aspect that's maybe missing from your life, that your life would be better if you had that. And it mostly comes down to money, because if you want more experiences, if you want more time with your family, if you want to live in a better environment, if you want to do nicer things, if you want to give more and help more, all of that comes down to having resources to be able to do so. So we are passionate about not only holding ourselves accountable in our life and our business, but holding you accountable to get to your financial goals, to help you identify with where you are, to really confront, where am I? Why am I stuck here? And then what are the actions that you have to take, and who do you have to become to get to those goals?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of programs, resources, and tools that we have that can help you get from wherever you are now to where you want to go, whether you're starting out, whether you've created a lot of success, whether you've gotten to a certain point and you feel stuck, whether there's some things you have confusion on, we can help. And so if you have specific questions, you can reach out to us. You can send us a DM. You can also check out our program that we have, which is Wealth Kickstart. And this really helps to do exactly what I was just talking about. It helps you get your finances organized so you know exactly where you are, what you need to face right now. What are the most pressing issues in your financial house that you have to face and confront? And what actions do you have to change? What habits do you have to adjust? And what things do you need to focus on to get exactly where you want to go, to increase your net worth, to create a better life for you and your family and your community?
Yeah. So, and all the things that we're doing, all the things we talk about are things that we have done or we are doing. Okay. So it's like all the people talk about become your own bank, all this different stuff. Those are things we've put into place for years. I bought my first life insurance policy. I'm 39 now. I bought my first life insurance policy when I'm in my early 20s. I didn't even have a spouse. I didn't have any kids. I bought it because I was trying to store cash in there. That was like 15 years ago when I first got my first life insurance policy to do that. So because I had learned about it. And I was like, okay, if something happens to me, I can leave some money to my mom, but I can also build cash in these strategies. So when people are talking about these things, some people just learned about them last week. We've been doing this for decades. So there's different things that we've done and implemented and done for ourselves. When Chelsea and I got married, we established our family trust. All these different things. We set things up because we have a minor son. If something happens to us, how do the assets be distributed to him? Yeah, he's going to be 18 very shortly.
Oh my God.
And then it's like, okay, so how do we make sure that our wealth and our assets don't negatively impact him? You know, because there's some kids that be like, oh, I've got a trust. They're called trust fund babies. Oh, I got a trust fund. So they don't want to go produce and work as hard. So then how do you continue to instill hard work in somebody who may understand that they may receive a large amount of money? Well, you don't make it a large amount of money for him to get all at once. So we space out. If Chelsea and I die tomorrow, our son's not going to just inherit a bunch of fucking money, okay? It's structured in our trust that funds will be dispersed to him in terms of cash flow at different ages. And if he's abusing drugs, all this different stuff, he's not going to get that money. Why would I give a drug user a bunch of money? He's not going to use drugs. He doesn't use drugs. He's like into his fitness and everything like that. But I'm just giving you examples.
Yeah, can we stop using that example?
She doesn't like that
please?
Example. But I tell you that because there are people who their children do use drugs. And when they pass away, they give them a bunch of money and then they go and further go downhill and they abuse themselves and their bodies and all of that because of their habits. And now they got more money to fuel their habits, right?
Thanks for saying that, DJ Greg. We're happy to help you.
You're happy to help, Greg. So I want you to understand that there's resources and tools we have that can help you. You can go to our website, sixbuildingblocks.com/kickstart and check out that program we're talking about. You can also send us a DM if you have any questions. A lot of people DM us each day. We have conversations with them and help them figure out where they are, the things they need to do to reach to their next level, wherever that is.
And that really is our entry-level program. If you're at another level also where you've created wealth and you're looking at, okay, how do I save on taxes? How do I do tax planning? What are some other investments? Now I've grown my business and my wealth. Where else can I put my money to make it work? How can my money make money? And looking at all of these other things, when you get to be an accredited investor, when you've created, a certain amount of wealth and you need help getting to the next level and organizing all of it and where to go to really accelerate your wealth, then we have another program that's appropriate for you. Yeah,
that's a super comprehensive one where we help you all kinds of different areas of your finances, private real estate investments, business valuation. Imagine if you have a business you could sell and you could earn way more selling the business than what you think the business is worth now. And we can show you how to increase the value of the business so that you can sell it for a lot more. All of that is that's in a more advanced structure that we have. So if you want to know about those things, also send us a message. We'll be happy to get you info on that.
So thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We hope you have an excellent weekend and reach out. Let us know how we can help.
Okay. Bye.
See you on Monday.
All right, guys.
Thanks for tuning in.
Okay.
Great job.
Awesome.